That my family came here legally, but what she was hoping to do was try to call me a hypocrite for believing.
In the endless swirl of American daytime television, few shows claim as much moral authority and generate as much controversy as The View. It's a space where celebrities, politicians, and activists alike are invited to sit in judgment of culture, politics, and even each other. But sometimes, that moral high ground turns into a trap, and for Sunny Hostin, that trap just snapped shut in the most public and humiliating way possible. It started with what Sunny likely thought was a harmless dig. A quick, sharp jab at conservative commentator Tomi Lahren, intended to highlight alleged hypocrisy in the debate over immigration. But instead of scoring a win, Sunny ended up lighting a match she couldn't control, one that would end up burning not just her argument, but her own credibility. On a recent episode of The View, Sunny decided to attack Tomi's ancestry. With a smug grin and the confidence that comes from years of applauding studio audiences, she rattled off census records supposedly revealing that Tomi's ancestors had lived in the United States for decades without learning English. Sunny's point, if you could call it that, was to mock Tomi's advocacy for merit-based immigration systems by suggesting her own family wouldn't have qualified.
Says Tomi's 3 times great-grandmother had been here for 41 years and still spoke German. She didn't speak English either.
It was a cheap shot. A lazy dunk wrapped in a veneer of historical trivia. But it didn't land. In fact, it backfired spectacularly. Tomi Lahren, known for her fiery comebacks and quick-witted defenses, didn't even have to break a sweat. She calmly explained that her ancestors, Norwegian and German immigrants, had come to the U.S. legally, worked hard, learned the language over time, and built their lives from scratch. The comparison Sunny tried to make, between legal immigrants of the 1800s and modern illegal immigration crises, fell apart instantly under even casual scrutiny. Worse still, Sunny's mockery reopened an old, embarrassing wound, one she probably hoped had been forgotten. You see, it wasn't that long ago that Sunny Hostin herself had appeared on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a popular ancestry show where celebrities discover the truth about their family histories. Sunny, who had built much of her political brand around social justice rhetoric and advocacy for reparations, learned something she was clearly not prepared to handle. Her own ancestors had been slave owners. That revelation, delivered to Sunny's stunned face in front of rolling cameras, sent shockwaves through her carefully constructed public persona.
Well, turns out she's not as oppressed as she claims she is. She's actually the descendant of slave owners from Europe.
Here was a woman who spent years berating others for historical injustices, only to discover that her own bloodline was entangled in the very oppression she railed against. At the time, Sunny had tried to spin it. She joked about it awkwardly, talked about how interesting it was, and tried to change the subject. But the internet never forgets. And when she went after Tomi Lahren's ancestry, critics didn't just remember, they pounced. Memes flooded social media within hours. Screenshots of Sunny's stunned face from Finding Your Roots were paired with quotes from her attack on Tomi. Commentators laughed at the irony. Political pundits dissected it with glee. Even many liberals, who might otherwise have defended Sunny, cringed at the spectacular cell phone. Because at the end of the day, this wasn't just about Tomi Lahren, or immigration, or ancestry. It was about hypocrisy. It was about the way certain public figures have built entire careers on scolding others without ever looking in the mirror. Sunny Hostin had committed the ultimate sin of modern media, believing she was untouchable. But the internet is a great equalizer. And the backlash was swift, brutal, and unrelenting. Tomi herself responded with calm amusement, pointing out the absurdity of Sunny's attack. She explained that while immigrants in the 1800s sometimes took years to learn English,
Well, there is a woman over the weekend who took it upon herself to research my family history.
they arrived legally, documented, and committed to building a new life under American law, not exploiting loopholes or waving foreign flags while demanding special treatment. Meanwhile, Sunny fumbled desperately to control the narrative. She tried to spin her comments as misunderstood. She insisted that she wasn't mocking immigration, just pointing out hypocrisy. But no one was buying it. The damage was done. The smug mask had slipped, and underneath was just another elitist talking head who couldn't live up to her own standards. And what made it worse was the sheer scale of the backlash. It wasn't just conservatives who called Sunny out. It was moderates, independents, even disillusioned progressives who were tired of seeing serious issues like immigration reduced to petty personal attacks. Sunny had handed her critics a gift, and they weren't about to let it go. Social media exploded with commentary. YouTube creators posted reaction videos that quickly racked up millions of views. Conservative pundits gleefully replayed the clip of Sunny's own Ancestry revelation over and over, side by side with her attack on Tomi. And then there were the memes. Oh, the memes. Pictures of Sunny's stunned face from Finding Your Roots.
I think it's actually pretty interesting that my husband and I have shared roots.
Captioned with jokes like, "When you realize you owe reparations," and "Sunny Hostin, Queen of Cell Phones," spread like wildfire. It became a cultural moment, a perfect snapshot of the arrogance, hypocrisy, and double standards that have turned so many Americans against mainstream media figures. Sunny Hostin didn't just lose a debate. She lost face. And it couldn't have happened to a more deserving target. Because for too long, shows like The View have been allowed to exist in a bubble. A bubble where clapping studio audiences reinforce bad arguments, and dissent is treated like heresy. A bubble where smugness is mistaken for intelligence, and every complex issue can be reduced to a lazy partisan punchline. But that bubble is bursting. Americans are waking up. They're realizing that many of the loudest moral scolds on TV are just actors, reading scripts, playing roles, selling outrage as entertainment. And when they slip up, when the mask falls, it's not just funny, it's revealing. Sunny Hostin's attack on Tomi Lahren wasn't an isolated mistake.
So I think they watch me and they say, well, you know, she speaks like I do, she thinks like I do, she seems to maybe get it like I do.
It was a symptom of a larger sickness, the arrogance of media elites who think they can lecture the country while ignoring their own flaws. And when they get exposed, the crash is spectacular. Tomi Lahren, meanwhile, didn't even have to gloat. She stayed calm. She stuck to the facts. And by doing so, she won the moment, not just for herself, but for everyone tired of the endless sanctimony pouring out of TV screens every day. As for Sunny Hostin, she'll probably try to move on. She'll make a few more carefully worded statements. She'll hope the internet's attention span runs out. She'll rely on The View's loyal audience to cheer her back to life. But the stain of this moment won't wash out easily. Because millions of Americans saw the real Sunny Hostin, not the polished TV persona, but the fragile, hypocritical human being underneath. And once you've seen that, you can't unsee it. In the end, Sunny's instant regret wasn't just about a bad joke gone wrong. It was about the realization, too late, that when you live in a glass house, you shouldn't throw stones. And when you do, be ready for the world to watch the whole thing shatter. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Sunny Hostin's attack on Tomi Lahren was a desperate move that finally exposed her hypocrisy? Or was it just a clumsy mistake that got blown out of proportion? Do you think mainstream media figures are losing their grip on credibility because of moments like this? Let's dive deep. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Trust me, you won't want to miss the next time the glass house cracks wide open.